The Marvel Cinematic Universe is known for its cameos. Some set up future movies, some reference the deep reaches of Marvel lore, and others exist for the sake of fan service or entertainment. Among these cameos, some are more meaningful than others, but none has stirred so much controversy or inspired so many theories and predictions as Evan Peters' guest spot on WandaVision. This is one of Marvel's worst cameos. I'll explain why. It all began when Disney bought Marvel back in 2009. Fast forward a decade to 2019 when Disney purchased mass media conglomerate 21st Century Fox. Among the properties of 21st Century Fox was 20th Century Studios, and within 20th Century Studios were assets like Avatar, Star Wars, and the X-Men. The gates were now open to the possibility of MCU and X-Men crossovers. Due to copyright issues, interactions between characters within the MCU property and those within the X-Men property had been practically and legally impossible before this point. Now, anyone from Jean Grey to Professor X to Magneto could finally interact with the likes of the Avengers. Around the same time as the Fox-Disney merger, Disney launched its original streaming service, Disney+, which would feature a host of new content. A slate of new MCU television shows were marketed as a key draw for potential Disney+ subscribers. Disney quickly took advantage of their new rights to the X-Men characters and decided to reintroduce Evan Peters as Quicksilver within a few episodes of WandaVision, the first in a lineup of new MCU television series made specifically for Disney+. Peters previously played Quicksilver in several X-Men movies produced outside of the MCU. When Evan Peters revealed himself in his glorious, comic book accurate form in WandaVision, the internet was taken by storm. Fan theories ignited. Videos on the topic exploded. There was even speculation that Quicksilver might be Mephisto in elaborate disguise. All of these theories, and more, were disproven. Instead of being an ancient demon from Faustian legend, a Nexus being, or some combination of the two, Evan Peters' Quicksilver is revealed to be nothing more than a man named Ralph Bohner, whom Agatha Harkness possesses to spy on Wanda. Since Ralph Bohner the character is an aspiring actor within the MCU, some random guy hoping to make it onto the big screen, there was no reason for Evan Peters to have been cast as him. In fact, it may make even more sense for a random actor to play a random character like Ralph Bohner. Evan Peters was cast for no other reason than to ratchet fan expectations up to an 11 and then pull the rug out from everybody just the same. Evan Peters is not Quicksilver in WandaVision. The closest he ever comes to resembling Quicksilver is when he dons a comic-accurate costume for the Halloween episode of WandaVision. In hindsight, perhaps we should have taken that hint for what it was, but I blame no one for reasonably assuming that Evan Peters was the real deal, for assuming that Quicksilver was finally in the MCU. But he wasn't. The role of fake Pietro could have been played by any actor, and the swap would have no bearing on Wanda's or Quicksilver's overall arcs. Wanda would still need to grapple with the loss of Vision and her brother. Aaron Taylor Johnson's Pietro would still be dead. The only difference is that we, as fans, would not have been duped into thinking that Evan Peters' cameo was one with actual substance. Evan Peters' cameo is really just a meta wink at the audience that inspires nothing, at least from my perspective, but disappointment, confusion, and a dose of rage. Matt Shakman, one of the directors of WandaVision, explains that he wanted to use Evan Peters' Quicksilver as an exercise in, quote, playing with expectations and turning things around, end quote. I'm not against deviations from a tried and true formula, but I am against those deviations coming at the expense of fan service and sensibility. It's perhaps even more insulting that Evan Peters' presence on WandaVision built up to an elaborate dick joke that wasn't and still isn't clever.
You're Ralph Bohner?
Boner.
In other words, Shakman didn't subvert audience expectations. He insulted them. Rather than leading audience members one way and then dropping them off at another, Shakman led his audience astray and then made fun of them, or us, for making reasonable conclusions about the clues he was leaving. Chris Evans' cameo as Johnny Storm rather than Captain America in Deadpool and Wolverine is subversive. Evan Peters' as Ralph Bohner rather than Quicksilver in WandaVision is insulting. The former is an unexpected and welcome surprise. The latter is an unexpected and unnecessary surprise. Again, any actor could have played the role of Ralph Bohner and left the narrative of WandaVision wholly intact. It didn't have to be Evan Peters, and his character didn't need a last name that made a dick joke of the lowest order. To add insult to injury, Marvel returns to their original WandaVision bait and switch by having Evan Peters reprise his role as Ralph Bohner in Agatha All Along. Bohner returns in episode 6 to describe his experience in Westview to Billy. Boner mentions Wanda and expresses great fear at any mention of Agatha. Boner notes that Agatha controlled his mind, forced him to pose as Wanda's brother, and made him kill Sparky the dog as well. Rather than backtracking even a little bit, Marvel doubles down on all aspects of the Ralph Boner character, up to and including an additional joke at the expense of his last name. Evan Peters' initial appearances as Ralph Boner at least blessed audiences with a surprise reveal in one episode and a comic-accurate Quicksilver costume in another. Evan Peters' second appearance in Agatha All Along essentially functions as a cameo of an already pointless cameo. Evan Peters' return as Ralph Boner only reminds the audience that in a universe, or rather multiverse, of heroes being resurrected either through a pipeline of prequels or alternate selves, Quicksilver is just dead. To be fair, there are other cameos within the Marvel Cinematic Universe which underutilize prestigious or accomplished actors. Evan Peters' cameo as Ralph Boner is the worst because in addition to the role being unworthy of his dramatic talents, the character of Ralph Boner manages to disservice Peters and slight the MCU fanbase at one time. Never again, Marvel. Never. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you also found Evan Peters' cameo as Quicksilver greatly frustrating. Also, let me know if there are any other Marvel cameos you found similarly pointless or ridiculous. And lastly, like and subscribe for more videos, and I will catch you in the next one.